He did come out and broach the issue, and he framed it very carefully. There was very careful framing all the way through to basically appeal to Democrats, which I think, by the way, is also a tactical error and may reflect Mr. Kucinich, because the polling just recently in Rasmussen, and then I was aware last summer, because we were sworn to secrecy. Bobby let us know that he was going to run or is strongly considering it. And we had a visitor, a colleague that's very involved in the campaign, that came and shared with us Zogby polling that was done last summer that is absolutely in line with the Rasmussen poll that shows that at the time, right now shows that Bobby is 1 point behind Biden in a general election. The Zogby polling showed that Bobby was pulling significantly from both Republican and Democratic parties. So in a way, if you take polling as an indicator, Bobby is a true centrist in the sense that he's pulling from the middle on both. And he really represents a threat to both, in my opinion. I think he represents a strategic threat to Mr. Trump and a strategic threat to Mr. Biden, which is a very interesting position. But he has chosen to run as a Democrat, as a kind of a New Deal Democrat in a way, and emphasized a foreign policy position that could have come right out of Steve Bannon's mouth or Donald Trump's mouth. Basically, without saying America first, he was saying America first. He was saying we need to draw back from, I don't think he used the term foreign adventures, but that was the basic logic. We need to pull back from our military offshore commitments and invest those. It was basically invest those funds domestically. It was basically going back to the logic of the peace dividend that never manifested after the fall of communism and the Berlin Wall. And that those resources and personnel should be pulled back and invested into American infrastructure. And we should stop with these adventures. And he bridged from that into speaking very carefully about Ukraine. And he made the case that we were originally sold, the American people that is, on the logic that this was a humanitarian exercise, that Mr. Putin had acted unilaterally and forcefully and was killing Ukrainians unnecessarily, and that we had a humanitarian obligation to help Ukraine and Ukrainians, which could be argued, but that was that was the position then, even though the counterpoint was, as advanced by Bannon and many others, was it's not in our national interest. And what are we doing there? Is humanitarian objectives a sufficient justification? But that was the justification made. And Bobby went along with that, basically conceded that ground, saying Americans are good people, and these humanitarian principles matter to us and our commitment to the world. And the world believes in American goodwill and that kind of warm patriotism. But that recently, the Secretary of Defense and Mr. Biden had made clear unequivocal statements that the objective now was to exhaust Putin and to facilitate regime change. And Mr. Kennedy's point was that we never bought in. We were never sold on the idea. We never had a national dialogue. As a population, we did not buy into the logic of regime change in Russia as the objective for all of this huge investment of treasure, personnel, armaments, et cetera. Not to mention the apparent money laundering. But that's another topic. So that was Bobby's thesis was he walked up to the Ukraine situation in this ginger way. And then his concluding points on Ukraine was that at a minimum, we should have a national dialogue. about this, and then he left it. One of the themes that he developed all the way through his talk, and I think is a major theme in his campaign, and just to provide a counterpoint contrast, the thesis of Mr. Trump, as posited by Bannon and many others that are involved in that campaign, is that Mr. Trump is a wartime president. He is a seasoned, battle-hardened veteran, and we are in a war, somewhat of an existential war against globalism. And Mr. Trump is the best positioned to lead the United States in that theater of war. And Mr. DeSantis has many strengths, but he is not a battle-hardened veteran of the wily ways of the administrative state in Washington, D.C. Mr. Kennedy's argument is that because of his decades of litigation against the administrative state in various forms, he is very well aware of their various nefarious tricks and tools and abilities. And he is actually very well positioned to take on the administrative state. And that was a major theme all the way through, beginning with an amazing opening that ties into the UK. He spoke about this period in history where you had a public-private partnership, in a sense, between the East India Company, the aristocracy, and the monarchy in the UK. And just to recall, Boston, which is where the talk was being given, had developed the technology of the time, the clipper ship. The clipper ship was bloody fast, and the reason for creating the clipper ship was to get the damn tea back to the States before the other guy, okay, with a new crop. That's why that technology got developed. So it's all about tea and the price of tea in China versus the price of tea on the East Coast of the United States. The monarchy, together with the aristocracy, Bobby's version of the story, conspired with the East India Company to implement a tax which the East India Company would be not required to pay. So those damn Americans with their fancy boats would have to pay this tax, and the East India boats that weren't quite such good technology would bring the tea and would have a price advantage because they would be tax exempt, which led to this little dust up called the Boston Tea Party. And so Bobby used this story in framing it, obviously in Boston, and talking about his family's long history in Boston and the Irish angle and all that, to make the point that these kind of globalist public-private partnership relationships, authoritarian relationships, have been with us forever, literally. And that is what we have to fight and resist. And that became a key theme running all the way through when he was talking about his environmental activism, et cetera. And he spoke about lockdowns, taking Nigel's advice, and studiously avoided talking about the jab. So that was an amazing kickoff. Then a friend of mine, close friend, business colleague, who is very embedded in the Bitcoin world, facilitated Bobby's coming out party at the Miami Bitcoin conference. And apparently, the Bitcoin community has flip-flopped, whereas they were previously in love with Mr. Trump. They are now rapidly behind Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, I saw him there with Michael Saylor and Robert Breedlove, and I saw a bunch of that. So it looks like he's got some fans down there.
Yeah, some serious fans, and they come with pocketbooks. So that'll be interesting to watch, and interesting to see how Mr. DeSantis positions himself relating to the Bitcoin world.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.